What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Monday, June 7th, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the future class of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Greg, I'm very excited for two reasons. One, we're here. It's E3 week, right? At least
Woo.
it's the start of E3, right?
This is
Like later
E3
this
week.
week. Okay, we consider this E3 week.
E3 starts on
It's
Saturday.
official.
I mean, in Summer Games Fest starts on Thursday. It's E3 week, brother.
Yeah. And so I'm very excited for this week. But number two, what I'm excited about is the fact that last night I got one of those platinum trophies in a game called Operation Tango. And it's my first platinum in the platinum race versus me and Jana Garcia. First to 3 platinums. I think we're tied up because she posted that she got the exact same platinum.
Tortoise in the hair over here, just taking their time. I mean, I could give you 3 head-to-head games right now. You'd have it by the end of the show, you know?
Yeah, but I don't want the cheap platinums. I want platinums that I feel proud to get.
Okay.
I want to put work into these.
Now, I see. It's funny because I go to psnprofiles.com/merc64 profile. No trophies here. It's private again. You privatized it again.
Interesting. I wonder why that is. I wonder if that's by choice, or if there's a game we're reviewing that would not let me show my
Perhaps
trophies.
I'm reviewing the same thing you're reviewing, and remember now
perhaps your trophies are also hidden.
No, my trophies are public. Remember, you can hide games. You can hide the individual games, and I did that, Jazz. So that way I can still see. I can still be out there looking at my D-rank Knockout City 11 out of 51 trophies at the top of the list. God, I'm terrible.
Do you think you're gonna platinum Knockout City?
Fuck,
You've been playing it a lot.
Fuck no. I love Knockout City. I would love to platinum Knockout City. I just don't think I got the. I don't think I got the stuff.
When do you foresee yourself stop playing Knockout City? Because the more I play it, the more I'm like, I just want to play this game and only this game.
Sure.
I don't want to stop playing Knockout City. I'm gonna be playing it probably this fall, I bet.
I hope that's true, and I hope I'm right there with you. But the problem I run into with these kind of games is simple, and you know it too, and you learn it every day more and more. Is that you only want to be playing Knockout City, but guess what, man? You got to review X, Y, and Z. So that means you get pulled away from Knockout City, and that means you come back to Knockout City. And it means you're rusty, and you're not as good as you were. Like that was this weekend for me, right? Where last weekend, Mom came to visit. It was all Knockout City in the run up to it. Then Friday we did the developer thing. And even then I'd already been working on a different review, got there and I wasn't nearly as good as I was 4 days ago. And then took basically the entire week off and then came back to play with you guys on Friday Friday night. And it was just that thing of like, oof, God, I am like everyone's waiting. Not that I was ever great. I'm not even trying to front or anything like that. I think I was always middle of the pack good. And it was that thing of like, oof, man, I am not there. Now I'm not even getting double-digit knockouts like I used to be. You and Barrett out there just cleaning clocks.
Was that with us playing like Snowback Mike and his crew? Because I think that was the situation.
The night before Barrett and I just jumped into some matches, and it was the same thing of like, oof, man, I got some ring rust on me. But it was in that I did it, and then we played with Snowback Mike, and that was fun. Don't get me wrong. But it's that thing of like, am I ever going to have the commit? When will I have time to commit to Knockout City that way? Because this is all fun and games, and I love Knockout City, but guess what, brother? The clock is fucking ticking. Mario Golf is right around the fucking corner. And I will be out on the links day and night when that happens. Don't worry about that. Started playing fucking everybody's golf the other day because I'm jonesing for Mario Golf.
Knockout City is one of those games that I don't see as like I don't see that game ever being like the main game you're playing. I think now that we've kind of exited that Knockout City hype season, I think that game is always going to be the secondary game, in the way that Apex for me is always the game I fall back on when I want a break from playing whatever I'm playing mainly, or when I just want something to chill and play. I think Knockout City is going to be that game. But you make a good point that Mario Golf, I think for you, will definitely end up being that game. But I could see Mario Golf and Knockout City sharing the spotlight also. Like Knockout City to me is just is one of the most addictive games I've played in the last 6 months.
Agree?
It's like Among Us level for me.
Hold on a second. There's a private conversation happening here. And I want to bring it in, but it involves the one and only Lucy James from GameSpot. We're trying to do some collaboration crossovers, get some kind of funny people over there, and it's like we're in an Abbott and Costello bit right now because she keeps asking, I can't even talk about it. It's all embargoed, so I can't even talk about it. All right, I will get it out of. It's out of there. Back to Knockout City. Yeah, Knockout City is, I hope, a game we're playing forever. And I hope that as they continue to add new modes and new maps and stuff like that, it'll bring us back and keep us going. I know Barrett's in. I know you are in. This goes back to where I'm at, though, right now, is that packing up to go to E3 or whatever, right? Like, I'm like, I got it. I'm like, I was doing that thing. Maybe I'll just commit to bringing the Switch. That's all I'll bring that. And I got Knockout City on there. I could play it on that. I could still be doing it, seeing how the Wi-Fi is. And then maybe it's a Fortnite situation, right? Where I'm down there and you know how in Fortnite, you play Fortnite on Switch, everybody's awful. Everyone, if right now, I'm sorry to break the news to you. If you play Fortnite on Switch and that's your main platform, you are dog shit at Fortnite. And I love going in there and cleaning your clocks. Don't get me wrong. It's great to come off of, Kevin's actually probably really good now because he plays with Joey all the time. But back in the day when me and Kevin would go on PlayStation and just get our teeth kicked in, it's like, all right, and then you turn on the Switch, you're a god among men. I'm hoping for that with Knockout City. I'd love to get some easy XP because these kids don't know what they're doing. They're trying to use touch control.
When you're playing with Barrett, are you playing League play or are you playing Street play?
We switch it up.
Okay. Because
actually, I guess this weekend, I don't know if we did. I think in the past we've played League play. I don't know if we did this weekend.
Okay. I forget. Because I was gonna say yesterday I was playing with Simon Carty from IGN and Barrett Courtney. And because Simon was still fairly early on in the game, you have to be rank 10 if you want to do League play, which is the rank play. Yeah. And so we were like, okay, cool. Let's just get Cardi to rank 10 so that we can hop into League play. And in Street play, we were cleaning folks up. Like, it wasn't even funny. It felt like we were playing against kids and bullying them. It was one of those kind of gaming sessions, one of my favorite kinds of gaming sessions. But then once we switched over to League play, that's where things got really spicy, of course, because you have people that, one, are trying, and then two, Barrett is platinum ranked in the game. And so we're getting matched up with platinum ranked folks, and that, like, we were keeping up fairly well. Like, it wasn't, they didn't demolish us, but we weren't cleaning it up and we weren't winning.
I've got to, it's what we were talking about on Friday's stream when we were out there playing against Snowbike Mike at night, and it was just that idea of I got to get in the lab, I got to get up there, and I got to get my timing down on my perfect catches. That's what's fucking me up. That's what I don't got the stuff for. I've got the killer instinct. I know where the ball's gonna be
there, though. Huh? You got the right people around you.
Oh, I know. I can get. No. None of this is me waving the white flag. This is just me saying, like, man, I already feel like I've lagged behind the group, and I don't think going to work in LA for a week's going to help me out much. Ladies and gentlemen, he's one of the Knockout Kings. He's one of the mayors of Knockout City. He's Sad Boy Barrett Courtney's here. Hello, Barrett.
You just gotta pass back and forth between that robot in that training area, Greg. Just go over him, and like that's the perfect way to like.
Yeah, Mike was proclaiming it on stream. You're godlike. Nobody can hit you. You catch everything.
I mean, even Ka had to tweet out that I'm a demon.
Khalif sucks at this game too. Khalif's worse than me, and he came up here thinking he's gonna have something for us. He's got nothing for us. He wouldn't even 1v1 me. He's a coward.
Yeah. Like I have a lot of confidence in Knockout City, but I will say Barrett, I think, is the best player at Kinda Funny.
I've been telling I just want to shout out KO Chaos, which is a 4-player mode where it's 1v1v1v1, and I think so far I've played like 13 matches and I've won 12 of them, and I'm feeling powerful, and I feel like I can take over this company at this point. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Anyway, I just want to apologize to Blessing and Simon Carty for when we finally went into League play and we got clowned out a couple times.
But like clowned out in a fair way. We didn't lose. Like it wasn't 10-1. It was like 10-6, 10-7.
Yeah,
like, we were putting up.
They were close games, but I felt bad of like that was Simon's first like testing the waters of League play, and I was bringing in platinum players. I was like, this is probably not fun, so I'll leave. So I'm sorry.
I've ruined this for you, and I have to go.
All right, bye.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, enough about Knockout City. Let's talk about games that aren't out yet because it's E3 week and everything's going crazy. We're going to talk about Rainbow Six Quarantine's new name, the Borderlands spinoff being all but confirmed, and new dates and times for a bunch of different press conferences, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show at patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can write in with your questions, comments, concerns, everything under the daily video game news sun. And then, of course, on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can get the show ad-free. You can get it with the exclusive post show. You can get exclusive podcasts like the Kinda Funny Next Gen podcast and the Q&A shows that are up right now. And of course, you can just support us and get physical goods and posters and all sorts of crazy stuff, all on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. But if you don't have any bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. You can catch the show as we record it live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, just like Error 420 ISO Christian and Corn Pillow are. If you are watching live on twitch.tv/ Corn Pillow sounds bad, doesn't it?
It sounds like something. Yeah.
It does. It sounds gross. sounds gross to me. I don't like, you know
Mm.
what I mean? Because I'm not thinking of a corn on the cob. I'll tell you that. Thinking of a bunch of loose kernels of corn. Disgusting over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Cream corn pillow. No, thank you. Of course, if you're on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, it's your job to keep us honest. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe. Housekeeping for you, like we've been saying, it is E3 week. Can you believe it? The general idea, if you're wondering, is that we will be reacting to almost everything that is live in terms of press conferences. So if it's happening, check out twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. You can guarantee all the big shows, all the big presentations we'll be live reacting to, like Summer Games Fest. It kicks off at 11 a.m. on Thursday. We, of course, will be live reacting to that, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, and then throughout the rest of it, too. Of course, what this means is that your favorite Kind of Funny programming, really for next week, but maybe a little bit this week, is getting jumbled and moved around because of all the different E3 press conferences and things happening. So stay on your toes. Be looking for the changes. Speaking of your favorite Kind of Funny shows, Gregway, tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific time, the Kind of Funny Gamescast is bringing you the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart review. That's right. We have it. We've been playing it. Maybe that's why Merc City 64's trophies are hidden. We will be talking about it tomorrow, 7 a.m. on the Kind of Funny Gamescast, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, podcast services around the globe. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, you might say, wait, Tuesday's usually PS I Love You's day. Remember, we want Gamescast to traditionally be the review show and PS I Love You be the more in-depth nerdy stuff show. So tomorrow, 7 a.m., we drop our review. Easy Allies will probably drop theirs down on the line. I'm sure IGN.com has somebody over there reporting on this game. Read the reviews, and then whatever outstanding questions you have, immediately submit them on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames for PS I Love You XOXO, because it's going to be your Ratchet and Clank questions answered with Blessing, Tim, and the blind gamer, Steve Saylor. So you can get over there right away. Get him in. We will record that tomorrow afternoon, and then you can get it on Wednesday as a special PS I Love You day. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Donovan Harkness, Omega3, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, Casey Andrew Elliott, Donovan Harkness, again, Blackjack. Today, we're brought to you by Honey Caviar and Credit Karma, but Blessing will tell you about that later. For now.
What?
Didn't you? I thought last week, remember, you were like, you guys got to go do something. I'll do the ads if you want. Did you ever record the ads?
Week. No.
Who did the ads this week?
Well, I guess we'll wait and see.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a surprise to see who did the ads. But for now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report.
Imagine Jared Petty being the one that pops up.
Time for some We got 7 items on the Roper Report.
Baker's dozen.
I'll tell you what, when you clear 5 items, that usually means you shouldn't dilly-dally, but we spent 12 minutes just being friends. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about.
Knockout City. That's the content people want, Knockout City content.
Let's start with what I'm headlining this show, Blessing. You will never get another Splinter Cell game. We start at IGN.com, where Matt Purslow is writing about the new not Splinter Cell game that kind of has Splinter Cell in it, but it's going to be Splinter Cell cross the Division, cross Ghost Recon. Images from an in-development game called Battle Cat have leaked online, showing something that combines several of Ubisoft's largest Tom Clancy games into an objective-based PvP multiplayer game. The images, posted to Twitter by account 0bytes0, have been reported on by VGC, which claims the information is authentic and relates to a first-person shooter in development at Ubisoft for PC and consoles. Battlecat is allegedly in early stages of development and will not be shown at Ubisoft Forward later this week. 0bytes0 claims that testing began around January. Battlecat appears to allow players to take a role within one of 4 prominent Tom Clancy universe factions: Echelon from Splinter Cell, the Wolves from Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and the Cleaners and Outcasts from The Division. Each faction has their own specific playstyle. The leaked images have text that explain that Echelon players are invisible on the minimap and can reveal the locations of enemy team members, which links them to the stealth and intel gameplay of Splinter Cell. The Wolves, meanwhile, are described as having additional armor, flashbang resistance, and personal shields. The Cleaners are apparently damage specialists with napalm turrets, flame-spreading drones, and extra grenades, while the Outcasts are a healer support class with health regen and Hive gadget, parentheses, possibly similar to the Hive used in the Division games. These faction characters also have ultimate abilities. The Outcast can use divine intervention to prevent allies from dying for a limited time. The Wolves, meanwhile, have a large mobile area of effect shield for use in push or defense situations. The leaked details reveal 2 of the game modes: Payload, which sounds similar to Overwatch in Team Fortress 2's escort style matches, and Ringleader, in which teams must collect rings from fallen players in a manner that sounds akin to Call of Duty's Kill Confirmed. The player with the most rings becomes the leader and must survive for 30 seconds to bank the rings and increase the team's scores. Blessing Adeoye Jr. Why not just make a fucking normal Splinter Cell game? What the fuck is going on over there? What do they know about what
It's wild to me because like they keep making Tom Clancy games. Like Tom Clancy is Ubisoft's bread and butter. Like they love making Tom Clancy games, and we get new forms of Tom Clancy all the time. It is Splinter Cell specifically that they stay away from, and they don't stay away from it in the way that they want us to forget it exists, or they want to.
They put it in Brawl Hollow. They're putting things. They put little weird things for.
They put Sam Fisher and everything.
Yeah.
Like he's in Rainbow Six Siege. He's in that mobile title. He showed up in Ghost Recon Wildlands. He just shows up places, but they refuse to make a game. And I wonder if there's just something there in the data that shows Splinter Cell doesn't sell.
Yeah, Blacklist was the last one, right? Did it sell that badly?
Maybe it's the thing where for Tom Clancy, they like to lean into multiplayer. Because we get Ghost Recon, we get Division, we get Rainbow Six, and these are all multiplayer tactical titles. Maybe there is something about Ubisoft and the way they operate and the way they treat Tom Clancy that means that they don't want to make a single player Tom Clancy game. Because I feel like that's the only explanation. You know, with Assassin's Creed has the Assassin's Creed name recognition. You get things like Watch Dogs, you get your Far Cries, and these are things that I think perform fairly well. Watch Dogs might be the outlier there, but the single player games that they churn out and put out there are games that I think just have a wider fan base and people show up to buy these games year over year.
But don't you think, like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but don't you think, and I know that I'm going to take the same argument I always fucking apply to old Gabe Logan over there, right, for Siphon Filter, and put it over here onto Sam Fisher's shoulders of, like, Metal Gear is, for all intents and purposes, dead, or at least going to be, you know, rebooted, remade, or whatever by somebody else. Like, there's this huge thing of, I think traditionally, like if I was sitting here and I close my eyes and I rock back and forth and I take off my shirt and I think about what I want out of a Splinter Cell game, right? I'm, of course, thinking of, oh man, yeah, make it really Jason Bourne-ish, make it a narrative, make it, you know what I mean? Like where it's going to be cinematic. And then I go, well, you know what? That's not Ubisoft. So what do I start pivoting to? What Ubisoft does, these big open world games. How could you take stealth espionage and merge it with an open world? Oh, Metal Gear Solid 5. Maybe the best fucking playing Metal Gear of all time. Why don't you take that and do that and have it be you are Sam Fisher and you guess what? There's all these different fucking missions that are popping up from Third Echelon that you need to go out and do. And you're out in the world and you approach it from any way you want and do the whole thing. Like, am I wrong?
Oh, yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. Like, I think a modern Splinter Cell game would probably be somewhat of a mixture between Metal Gear Solid 5 and Ghost Recon Wildlands, but single player. Like I think as Ubisoft, you would probably lean into that. And you can put all the Ubisoftisms in there. You can put, hey, go into this compound, clear out the enemies in this compound, but like the hook here is that it's stealth and you have the Splinter Cell gadgets and you have the Splinter Cell story and a hook to it. I think you can do that. But I guess the question for you, I would imagine that the conversation for them is, will that sell as much as an Assassin's Creed or a Far Cry or stuff that they know is proven? The answer to me is probably yeah. I would think Splinter Cell would sell great if you put out a great Splinter Cell game because people are familiar with Splinter Cell.
I think if you put out a great Splinter Cell game, it would outsell a Ghost Recon. And I could be wrong. Yeah. Multiplayer and yada yada yada, but I just think that, like, especially Breakpoint underperformed. So even if you like put out this new version of Splinter Cell, open world, whatever, take everything down, collect all the different things you need to collect, and like maybe it doesn't go huge on the first one, but I doubt that. I feel like, especially in this vacuum we have where there is no Metal Gear, where in 5, you know, lacked on the story and how it should have ended or whatever because of a whole bunch of behind the scenes things, like. Do that, and mix it in. I understand, like, and it would be Metroidvania almost to a point, right? Of like you're playing and getting all these cool gadgets, all these different things. Like it starts, you know, simple as every Splinter Cell does, that you can shoot out the lights and use darkness as cover. But yeah, by the end, you're using some kind of really crazy tech to come back and even, you know, trounce out these times. I don't get it.
Do you think there is poison in like in pure stealth games? Because every stealth franchise that I really like tends to run into trouble in terms of the franchises staying alive. I think of Deus Ex and how Eidos isn't working on new Deus Ex games anymore, at least for the time being. I think of Dishonored and how like we're not getting a new Dishonored, and that's probably because Dishonored games haven't sold extremely well. Metal Gear Solid is nowhere to be found anymore.
Metal Gear, but Metal Gear I don't count as part of that problem.
Yeah, because Metal Gear Solid is like mainstream. Like people love Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear, yes, yeah.
And then even Hitman, which Hitman 3 I love, and Hitman in general I adore, but you had IO Interactive get split off from the publisher because Hitman wasn't performing the way that they wanted it to perform. I wonder if there's something just in the stealth formula that maybe it's budget plus return on investment. Maybe it's what they see in analytics in terms of.
I think it's exact. You nailed it on the first go. I think you're 100% correct. I think it is that stealth games don't sell as well as whatever X game you want. And I think you'd say action, right? Where even if you want to compare it to an older Hitman or whatever, like the way they're doing it and why Square gets out. This is always a conversation we talk about that. I would love it if video games were just art for art's sake and there was no worry about the return to the business side of it. But there is a business side of it. And so it always comes down to defining how did this game sell well is never like, did it hit X amount? It's what were your projections for? What are your returns? What do you need from it? And Square and Hitman and IO are the best example of it in recent memory of Square being like, this underperformed for what Square Enix needs it to do. So yeah, you can go away, IO, and you can take it because there isn't bad blood here. We know you're talented. We know you can do stuff with it. It's just never going to make enough for us. And meanwhile, IO is able to keep making games for it, or now 3, but then also have a plan for what they're doing next, yada yada yada. Like, a success for IO Interactive is way different than a success for Square Enix. And so, yes, your original question was, do you think there's something wrong or is there something that's a turnoff or a negative to a pure stealth game? Yes, I think immediately that pushes it into a corner. And it's one of those reasons I think when you think of great stealth games of recent memory, right, you think of the indie scene. Because again, you can make an indie stealth game and you can put it out there and like you can have something that clicks with people that is they want a pure stealth experience. They don't want it to be actiony at all. And I think, if you jumping tracks and kind of mixing our examples, but similar thing, I think you also look at survival horror and you look at something like Dead Space, right? Where Dead Space 1 is a masterpiece of survival horror. But for Dead Space 2, they tweaked a few different things, which me, Greg Miller, who loved Dead Space 1, but doesn't love survival horror, Dead Space 2 was way more my jam. Like I loved how psychological, cinematic, and more actiony it was. But then they go Dead Space 3, where it's like pure action. I was like, oh, this game sucks. Like there's the Dead Space is such a great example of this spectrum and how you can go with it and how you can get off course with it. And I think that's what was always so fascinating about the evolution of Metal Gear, sure, but in particular Metal Gear Solid 5. Where it was like, it's open world. Like, what are you talking about? Like, won't this get boring? Won't this do this? For some people it was, but it was such a great feeling game to play. Like if it, I feel like stealth so many times isn't about feeling great. It's more about, patience and plotting and planning and getting out there. And that's a turnoff to people.
And I think that's an example of Kojima and Konami figuring out the formula in the case of trying to get people to engage longer and engage more with the title. Because I would not be surprised if there are analytics in stealth games where you see way more fan or audience drop off in the first few hours of stealth games comparative to action games or RPGs or plenty of other types of games, because people get frustrated, people get impatient, people are like immediately like, oh, this isn't for me because every time I step out I get caught and I don't like that fail state. Like stealth games can be very aggressive and very punishing, and I'm sure that reflects back in the analytics. Whereas something like Metal Gear Solid 5, I think one, it goes open world because that's where you see a lot of like people like open world games. That I think as a publisher, you look at that and you're like, cool, this is gonna sell Metal Gear Solid open world game. But even with that, I think they cracked the code in terms of, okay, cool, let's give people tools. Let's give people a lot of shit to play around with. Let's make this a sandbox. And Metal Gear Solid 5, I think, is one of the best stealth games because of that, because they figured out that the way to do stealth right is to give people just a bunch of different ways to experiment and play around with the sandbox and play around with, okay, I'm going to go out during this time of day during a sandstorm. That way they won't be able to see me. Okay, cool. They're reacting to that. Let's switch it up. And the way that the game engages back with the player as the player engages with the game, I think makes for such a good gameplay loop that makes that game almost an anomaly compared to other stealth games in the way that it operates. But yeah, dude, I think there's a way to do Splinter Cell, but maybe there's just not somebody there with the vision to figure that out. Like that would be my guess. Like nobody over there is probably fighting for it hard enough with a dope enough pitch to make Ubisoft go, okay, cool, yeah, let's greenlight this because this hits all our marks in terms of what we want.
Well, it's also, like I think again, for better or worse, the shift you see in Ubisoft, where it is this idea, right? And we've talked about this earlier this year, right? When they got in hot water, when they were like, we're focusing on free to play. And they was like, what the fuck? And they're like, well, not really. We're putting more of a focus on free to play, right? Like it is about these experiences that engage and keep you going. And so like they're seeing so much success with Rainbow Six Siege. We're about to talk about, the new name for Quarantine and all that jazz, that, yeah, like here they are looking at something that's a PvP multiplayer game, removing the Splinter Cell, where the fuck is the version we all want thing. Does Battlecat do anything for you? Are you interested in Battlecat?
Honestly, this game sounds really fun. Like this sounds like them trying to do their own quote unquote Smash Brothers crossover game with their big Tom Clancy franchises. And I think that by itself is a really cool thing and a really exciting thing. The way they're describing it makes me even more excited because they are putting in game modes that make it Overwatch-ish with like a payload mode, or even the Call of Duty I forget what it's called, pick up your dog tag mode, kill confirmed type mode. I think that is a really good fit, and I get really excited when Ubisoft does like the PvP multiplayer stuff for Tom Clancy. I really, really love Rainbow Six. I think Rainbow Six Siege is fantastic, and I know so many people love Rainbow Six Siege, and I think that game works because they have really good teams there that are really good at making that type of game. You love The Division, and I think that speaks to the fact that Ubisoft again is really good at making those types of games. Tom Clancy games sell and are popular, and they keep making them for a reason. Like they got that formula down. They know how to make that type of game, and like sometimes they miss in the case of Breakpoint, right? But oftentimes they hit, and when they hit, they really hit. And so Battlecat sounds like something that I think could appeal to a lot of people. It's going to appeal to the Overwatch crowd. It's going to appeal to the crowd that maybe just likes Tom Clancy games in general. And if you are a Splinter Cell fan, I think that gives you somewhat of a connection of, okay, cool, they're making these references in this game. I'll try it out because I like Splinter Cell, or I'll try it out because I like multiplayer, or I'll try it out because I like Division or any of these other franchises that are included. And so this sounds really fun. It seems further away, but I'm fine with that because Ubisoft has stuff that they're putting out, and they're about to talk about, and we're about to talk about this Rainbow Six game, Rainbow Six Extraction. And so, yeah, I think they got a good, they have good games on the horizon in terms of the Tom Clancy games.
Let's keep rolling with this Ubisoft announcement day. For number 2 on the Roper Report, Rainbow Six Quarantine has officially been renamed Rainbow Six Extraction expansion. Rainbow Six Extraction. Kevin, I dropped a little teaser trailer in here just so there's something as we go over it. They did 2 different videos today. One was the dev team title reveal where they talk a little bit, and it's basically obviously hyping you up for UB Forward this weekend as part of E3. And then this other one that Kevin will show you here in a second. That
sorry,
is just the.
I'm trying to find my mouse. I'm sorry, I misplaced it.
Your actual mouse? Did you check outside? Is it charging in the sun?
Wes, you get all hurt when I make fun of you. So you want to keep playing this game, you can keep playing this game, but just be careful.
Go swing back. Be careful, Wes. Be careful. What'd you get? You got the McDonald's coffee. What else? What'd you eat though?
I got the sausage McGriddle.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's really good. It's really sugary. Probably really unhealthy, but it's really good.
So yeah, here you go, showing this goofy little thing, and it basically shows the alien organism or whatever it is, popping out like a symbiote and going after this and getting out. The dev thing goes a bit more into what is going on. I'm going to read from Polygon.com, where Cass Marshall wrote up what was going on there. In Rainbow Six Extraction, a sinister parasite has completely taken over a science lab. Parentheses, in general, scientists should probably stop studying sinister beasts inside labs because it absolutely never goes well. This is a tactical co-op shooter based off the foundation of Rainbow Six Siege, but without the focus on PvP content. Extraction is the name of the game, literally, but also a gameplay sense. A major point of gameplay will be when to push forward and try to delve deeper into the laboratory, or when to cut your losses and get out of Dodge with all your limbs attached. Another major theme is, quote, no one left behind, which suggests getting survivors out of the laboratory will be a focus. Like I said, mainly hyping you up for this weekend stuff, but for me personally, someone who's never been big on PvP, it interests me. Like I could see us doing this, right? Because the way they described it in the dev trailer was Siege becomes a modern co-op shooter, which sounds cool. Like I don't know, delving in the laboratory, going deeper. I obviously want to see it at E3 this weekend, but this is interesting to me.
I'm really excited about this. Like I said before, I love Rainbow Six Siege. And if this is anything like even the terrorist hunt mode in Rainbow Six Siege, where you are playing with friends and you're going out and clearing out a room, if you're having that level of engagement and communication back and forth and having to work together, I think this game is going to be a banger. And yeah, like it seems really cool. Like I'm excited to see more from it.
You don't have to wait long. Of course, Ubisoft Forward is happening this Saturday, the 12th. I believe the pre-show starts at 11 and then noon for the real thing, if that's what I think it is. But either way, you can check it out Saturday. Everybody will be watching it here, there, everywhere. Of course, like I said, remember, this will be one of the ones for sure we're reacting to on twitch.tv/Kinda Funny Games. So strap in for Ubi Forward this Saturday. Speaking of Ubi Forward, that's right. Still more Ubisoft news before we get out of here. I made a prediction on the Gamescast that at the official E3 there would be not a fucking peep about Prince of Persia, and on command, here's your dev update from the Prince of Persia remake, folks. Hello, Prince of Persia. This is number 3 on the Rope Report. Hello, Prince of Persia fans. Ubisoft Forward is around the corner, and we wanted to use this time to thank you for the amount of support you've shown us this past year. As you might have already read, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake will not be in Ubisoft Forward. We are making great progress for our game to release next year, but we are not ready to share any additional information just yet. We will share an update as soon as we are ready. Until then, we wanted to express our appreciation for your continuous support as well as your patience with us on our own journey. We're looking forward to the moment when we will be able to share more with you.
This game was supposed to come out in January.
Can you believe that?
How did it get delayed into next year?
Dude,
and they announced the game in what, November, December? I'm gonna say November. They announced the game in November.
Was it? I thought it was last Ubi Forward.
No, because last Ubi Forward I think was this year. I think that was 20.
Okay.
Actually, I can't remember. There was a Ubi Forward in November.
When did they announce this game? I'm
yeah,
digging.
Let me know. /you're But they basically announced it to release in like 2 to 3 months, and it somehow got delayed past the year. That is a wild story too. The fact that we're not going to see it, I guess, not as surprising, but still like what is happening with this game? What are they doing to it? Are they like redoing it from the ground up, or are they trying to just build over it? And
well, I mean, remember, if you haven't paid attention, you missed it. It got revealed, at which we're still trying to find a confirmation when this actually happened. kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Don't believe that until they say it in the kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Don't look at the chat. Chat could be saying anything. One of them just said, "Look, October 1930." What does that mean? That doesn't even make any sense. But it got revealed, and they're like, we remade, and we're like, this is gonna be great. And then we all watched the trailer, like, this looks like shit. Why does it look like this? And then they tried to they're like, oh, it's a style choice, and this is an old build, and it'll look better. And I think they did put out one update where things looked a little bit better, and people were still like, nah, this ain't it. And they're like, you know what? You're right. It's not coming out in January like we said it was. It'll be out. They think they indefinitely delayed it, and now the next peep you hear about it is next year is when you'll get this game.
That's wild to me. Like I wonder. Here's the thing, right? There's the Miyamoto quote that people put out there. Delayed game is eventually good. I think.
Yeah, without thinking about the quote. Yeah, that's always
yeah. If you put out a game now, it's gonna suck. That's what he said. I wonder if they should have just cut their losses and released the version they had in January, because this seems like they are. I hope this game comes out. Like, I hope it doesn't inevitably get canceled or shelved, because people love Prince of Persia. I'm sure the version they had, even though it wasn't as pretty, at its core, it would have just been Prince of Persia, the game that people knew. And so
yeah.
I think people would have been fine to just revisit Prince of Persia, even if it is only marginally prettier. Best case scenario, we do get a version that lives up to a what a modern remake could be, and it looks beautiful, and it looks like a next gen, or I guess it's not coming out on next gen only. I guess it's
Who
probably
the fuck knows where it's coming now?
PS4 or Xbox One. Who knows? But hopefully it looks like something that comes out in 2022 that is comparative to other things coming out in 2022. That's best case.
At
I find it hard that they're gonna get there,
kindoffunny.com/you're
though.
wrong, Timmy Buddy says Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake was announced on September 10th, 2020. Back in December, they moved the release date of Prince of Persia from January to March. Then in February, they said the game is pushed back to a later date.
Do you think this game gets to where it needs to be by the time it comes out?
What do you mean? I think it comes out. I do think it comes out. I think it looks better. I don't know if I don't know. I mean, the fact that they're putting this much time into going in, like you assume when they come back, it's going to look great. Or you hope it is. I mean, it could go either way, but if it's just going to end up looking marginally better than what we saw before, I'm sure it's already there. Why not just put it out and make your money?
Do you think by the time we get it, people go, oh shit, they did it. Like, this is the Prince of Persia we've all wanted.
I say no because that's a tall order, but I could see it happening. It could possibly happen. I don't think it'll happen, but that's just because, probabilities.
Yeah.
But you hope so? I mean, goddamn, I
hope
Prince.
so.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
We'll have to wait and see. And it won't be the C3 that you see. So strap in, everybody. We'll get there one day next year, apparently. Number 4.
I love how many of our E3 predictions are getting answered before we actually get there. Also,
give me the points. I don't care. Give me the points.
Yeah. Do we know who's in the lead right now? Do we have any?
No, that's impossible to find out. Nobody's.
I guess we'll figure it afterwards.
It's somebody on subreddit's going to put up the results one day, and we're all just going to believe them. We're not going to do any research. We're just going to be like, that's what he said. All right, great. Number 4 in the Roper Report, as if you needed any more confirmation, it definitely looks like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the Borderlands spinoff, or whatever you want to call it, is real. We go to VGC, where Andy Robinson reports Gearbox and publisher 2K will reveal Borderlands spinoff Wonderlands during Summer Games Fest Kickoff live later this week. Again, that's Thursday. We'll be live reacting here. Summer Game Fest confirmed on Monday that it'll reveal, quote, a new adventure from Gearbox and 2K during the 2-hour show on Thursday, June 10th. A teaser site, BeChaoticGreat.com, has also been launched, and as shown in VGC's image below, its code contains references to a yet-to-be-launched website for Wonderlands. Wonderlands was first listed in a leaked 2K games list, which was circulated on social media last week and corroborated by VGC's own sources. According to the list, the Borderlands spin-off stars mainstay character Tiny Tina with similar gameplay to the core Borderlands games. A series spinoff was first claimed to be in development by Game Reactor last month. Then 2K, parent company of then 2K parent Take-Two confirmed shortly after it would publish a new Gearbox franchise before April 2020. Last week, E3 organizer, the Entertainment Software Association, ESA, published new details on its 2021 schedule, which includes a Gearbox press conference on Saturday, June 12th, and a Take-Two presentation on Monday, June 14th. The all-digital E3 2021 event runs from June 12th to the 15th and will include a 4-day live broadcast hosted by Alex Golden, Boy Mendez, Jackie Jing, and Greg Miller, featuring publisher showcases, press conferences, industry panels, live streams, and more.
You don't have to include that every time.
even when I'm not on the show this week, and you gotta include it. You gotta include it.
That's amazing.
You just gotta do it. It's there. What are you gonna do?
Awesome that we're getting more confirmation on this. I'm looking forward to it. Where's your hype level for Wonderlands?
I'm excited to see it. Yeah, I mean, we talked a bit about this last week, right? When we were going through this in the XCOM leak and all that jazz. I'm excited for more Borderlands from a fresh thing. Jen and I love playing them together. So I'd totally be down for another one. I expect it to be colorful and different and not look like Borderlands 3. And like I said, I hope they have better inventory management. That's pretty much my hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're going to play it?
Oh, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna try it out. I like the idea of making more Borderlands, but finding a way to make a spin-off title stand unique from the mainland Borderlands titles, because they could have just made they could have literally made a game that is Borderlands the pre-sequel 2, and that wouldn't be a crazy title for them. Like they could have just done that, right? They could just make another Borderlands, but it seeming like it theoretically going for something with the Tiny Tina thing and maybe being more of a fantastical take on what Borderlands can be, and going hard with Tiny Tina, crazy character. We'll use that character to create a crazy game. I think there's promise in that, and we'll see when they reveal it if it is going to lean into that or if it just looks like more Borderlands. But I expect that it'll look a little bit more interesting than just more Borderlands. That's my hope.
Yeah, that's my hope and thought on it too. There'll be a twist, a take, her story, whatever she's doing with it. Number 5 on the Roper Report is a weird one, and I will apologize now for all the French I'm about to completely butcher. Quantic Dream executives cry, ask if they can lie in court. This is Ian Walker over at Kotaku. Quantic Dream executives recently appeared in a Paris court as part of an ongoing defamation lawsuit against French publication Le Monde and Mediapart. But according to a May 31st report, things didn't go smoothly for the studio behind games like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. Independent French union Solidaires it's like solidaire information, but they spell it
Solidaire Informatique.
Oh man, get Jen down here. Reports that the co-CEOs David Cage and Guillaume de Fondemer both exhibited strange behavior during their testimonies. Cage allegedly cried on the stand, stomping his feet, screaming about interferences to his business and damage to his honor, and eventually storming out of the courtroom altogether. Near the end of his own testimony, de Fondemer reportedly looked at the judges and asked, quote, "But I'm not under oath, so I can lie?" Before claiming Quantic Dream was seriously damaged by the stories about its toxic work environment. Solidaire Informatique says that de Fondemer didn't provide proof of these damages. Quantic Dream didn't respond to Kotaku's request for comment.
Really? They didn't respond?
It was surprising, shocking.
Shocking.
These legal escapades stretch back to January 2018 when several reports were published in the French press concerning working conditions at Quantic Dream. The stories allege that Quantic Dream's work culture was rife with toxic behavior, the most prevalent being a massive internal trove of photoshopped images depicting employees in sexual situations and altered to look like Nazis. These images reportedly dated all the way back to 2013 and were sometimes even displayed in open areas of the Quantic Dream offices. Studio executives refuted these details, along with de Fondemer, telling Kotaku at the time that he was, quote, furious and outraged by the accusations. Kotaku learned in April 2018 that Quantic Dream was suing newspaper Le Monde and website Mediapart, two of the French publications responsible for the reporting. In December 2019, a French court ordered Quantic Dream to pay a former IT manager a total of around $8,500 over the incident, but that decision was overturned earlier this year after no link was found between the dissemination of the photos and the plaintiff's decision to leave the company. In addition to the actions of its executives during last week's court appearance, Quantic Dream reportedly provided the court with documents that were supposed to defend them against the accusations of Social Security fraud by showing the company acting in good faith in the termination of a former employee. However, upon closer inspection, these documents apparently revealed irregularities in the process that the defense believed highlighted a possible incident of unlawful dismissal. If true, this would be an own goal of monumental proportions. A verdict in Quantic Dream's lawsuit against Le Monde and Mediapart is expected on July 8th, according to Solidaire Informatique. That was a ride. That was a roller coaster ride.
What a story. David Cage seems like a madman who's not fit to lead, and I hope they get him out of there, and like the higher ups responsible for the state of working over there. I hope they replace them, and they're able to, like, I hope Quantic Dream is able to like shed all this shit and move forward, because I think that is such a talented studio that make games that are really impressive and can oftentimes be really cool. And I think they need to replace the quote unquote visionaries over there, because I think there's something special about that studio, and it's being held back so much by folks who just want to be shitty, and folks who like want to do things right, like photoshopping images depicting employees in sexual situations, right? Like, how terrible is that? How fucked up is that? That needs to go. And I think once that goes, you're gonna see that studio shine. And I hope they go, because goddamn, that's fucking wild.
It's that thing of, we always, obviously everything you just heard from the story is horrible. That's not what I'm saying. We go into a bridge here of like out on a limb of like, I'm on their Wikipedia page. It's a private thing, right? And David Cage is listed as the founder. So is he still the owner too? Like, I'm not sure. Like, who owns? Is it possible to get rid of David Cage? Right? Is that a thing that's going on? This is, a similar thing in the way I know. Well, I guess it's different now, but that was always the argument with like Gearbox. Of like, well, man, Randy Pitchford just keeps fucking making headlines for the wrong reasons. Like, can you get rid of him and let the people who are making the games get shine? There's always a thing of like, well, he's at the top and he like owns it. So like, no, you can't. But now I know they've sold to Embracer, right? So that's a different thing. I got that right? Embracer? KindaFunny.com/wrong. Okay, it does, yeah. And so David Cage, I'm not sure exactly if he owns it and they can ever get out from under, or if that's a thing like no matter how bad David and Guy de Mer here, ride the reputation into the fucking ground. If it's private and they own it, like, right, like, what do you do about that? But yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, so it's that thing of, obviously so many people work at Quantic Dream that are incredibly talented. I like Quantic Dream games, but it's that thing, you read this and it's like, I've always heard, scuttlebutt in conversations I've had with developers and stuff that David Cage is like, an asshole. Like, he thinks he's like, my shit don't stink and I'm changing video games and yada, yada, yada. And so it's always been that thing of like, he's an auteur or whatever. He is making great games. Plenty of, reasons to, in open net, to go score on Quantic Dream and right of like, fucking robots singing or whatever, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you can pick and choose your battles on this, but then to look at this, be like, oh, not only are you an asshole, but like the work culture is fucking horrible over there. And on top of that, Cage allegedly cried in the stand, stomping his feet, screaming about interferences to his business and damage to his honor, and eventually stormed out of the courtroom altogether. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going? And then this, but I'm not under oath, so I can lie. Why would you even ask? What are you thinking?
I think like at that point, right? Like, you say that because you feel untouchable. You feel like you're powerful. You feel like maybe you feel like at that point you got nothing to lose. When in the reality, you got everything to lose, which is why David Cage is out here crying in court. Like I mean, when it comes to auteurs or people who take pride in their work and all these things, right? Like, I don't think that's an inherently bad thing. I love It Takes Two.
Joseph Fares.
Joseph Fares, I think, is such a cool dude, right? And like, I think he's the kind of dude who's taken very public confidence in his work, and I think that shines through in the work of him and the rest of the studio. I think they do a good job of stuff. You look at folks like Hideo, right? And I think we consider him to be a quote unquote auteur and stuff.
Sure.
And he's not as cocky as David Cage and Joseph Fares, at least being outspokenly cocky.
If I can interject for a second, right? For the three people we're talking about. And again, I'm Greg Miller, and I talk to people who make video games. I don't exist in that workspace, and I don't blah, blah, blah. And this is all hearsay and secondhand information. Of the three people we're talking about right now, right? Like, David Cage, I've heard from multiple people, is a dick. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I've interviewed him a couple of times. I don't know him from Adam beyond that. I have no idea. But I've heard from multiple developers, like, dude, that guy, like, he sucks, kind of thing. Joseph Fares, the only criticism I've ever heard of him was like, oh man, insulting the Oscars was a bad look. Outside of that, everybody's like, I love this guy's passion, and he fucking rocks, and he makes great games, and yada, yada, yada. And then Kojima is in a similar thing, and Kojima's a bit cheating, because I would think I'm closer to Kojima than I am to either of the other two guys. And I always go back with Kojima is, my thing with Hideo, right, is that I think so many of us in the industry put him on that pedestal of an auteur and somebody you can't touch, yada, yada, yada. When I think he is obviously an incredibly creative and talented individual. I'm here because of Metal Gear Solid and Hideo Kojima video games, right? But I always go back to two examples of, like, we've hung out before, obviously, but the two examples from RTX Australia, when I went and did that forever and a day ago, right? And the examples being of when we were getting I was going to do the 2-hour interview with him, which is available on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. And when we were getting the walk around the show floor and getting the tour or whatever, and I saw the Zelda sword, I was like, hey, come take a photo with me. He was so excited to come do it. And then like when in the green room, he had his own like area, like that was like sealed off for like his own private room, right? Because he's Hideo Kojima, that I assume they wanted to give him, right? But then it was everybody else, all the other. And so Rooster Teeth people would come up to me all the time and be like, hey, do you think he'd sign something? I was like, oh yeah, no problem. And I would DM him, and a minute and a half later, he'd come out, he'd sign, he'd take photos, do whatever. I guess the third example is that 1-2 switch thing we did too, where we wore cowboy hats and played one. Like, he doesn't have, like, in my personal experience with him, which again is limited. It's not like he's coming to my birthday party or something, but he doesn't, I don't think of himself on this pedestal that he doesn't want to come down and do fun shit and hang out and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm sure plenty of people have had bad experiences with him. I'm sure plenty of people have bad experiences with me, but it's that weird thing of, I don't hear about those like I hear about David Cage.
Exactly. And I think it's fine if you want to own that like auteur identity, or be like, cool, I make games, I'm confident in the games that I make and all this shit. On the David Cage side of things, right, I think he takes it to a certain level that is not necessarily backed up by the games he's putting out. Like I like the Quantic Dreams games, but they're very flawed a lot of times, especially when you look at them from a story perspective. But then also like he takes that power that he has and seemingly he uses that power to be a dick, which is unacceptable. And I think that like that's probably the big separator for me when it comes to the three of them is the stories we've heard and the way that you end up using that power you have. And so I hope somehow like that power gets stripped away. I don't know what that looks like. I hope people that work at the studio that are doing good work end up to continue doing good work. And maybe that's with the studio. Maybe that's by joining another studio. But I hope the talented people that are involved in this continue to let their work shine and continue to do dope shit.
100%. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of dope stuff, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames to get every episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily with the exclusive post show we do. Of course, you could get exclusive shows like our Q&A thing that goes up every month, like the Kinda Funny Next Gen podcast that goes over there. Hell, if you wanted to, you could support us at such level, you'd get all the Kinda Funny perks from the other Patreon as well and get all the Kinda Funny podcasts and all that jazz, all of our shows under one roof. But I digress. Why I'm telling you about patreon.com/kindafunnygames is that you can go there to get each and every episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily ad-free. And speaking of ads, Greg Way, let's see who's talking about the sponsors today.
This episode is brought to you by Caviar. Loving good food doesn't necessarily mean you're able to cook well. If you want a great meal but need a little help, let the restaurant come to you. Caviar can help. How often do you get the best of both worlds? If you want a chef-cooked meal but don't want to leave the comfort of your own home, Caviar can make it happen. They make it happen for me very, very often. I thank them very, very much. Caviar is the food delivery app for people that are into good food. They bring the best local restaurants directly to your doorstep. Caviar keeps it local. That's what's really cool about them. All the hidden gems in your neighborhood, they're on Caviar. Trust me, all my favorite taquerias, yeah, they've been delivered to me thanks to Caviar. Not sure what you want to eat? Let Caviar's staff picks recommend the best spots in your neighborhood to find your new favorite. And just for you guys, Caviar is offering $10 off an order of $20 or more. All you have to do is put in the offer code Kinda Funny at checkout. Remember, that's $10 off a purchase of $20 or more with offer code Kinda Funny. Download the Caviar app and use the code Kinda Funny. Come on, guys, $10 off. That's awesome. Next up, Honey. If you want to save money, you better be using Honey, baby. We all shop online and we've seen the promo code field taunt us at checkout, but thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey's the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Honey supports over 30,000 stores online. They range from sites that have tech and gaming products to popular fashion brands, even food delivery. I always talk about this, everything from Best Buy to Etsy. You're saving money using Honey. I have saved so much money. Kinda Funny has saved so much money just by installing it once. It's so easy. It's in your browser and then it does all the work. When you check out, it just applies coupons. You're saving money. It's free. Why wouldn't you use this? If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on free savings. It just takes a few seconds to install. It's so easy. Go to joinhoney.com/games. That's joinhoney.com/games to get Honey for free. joinhoney.com/games. And finally, let's talk about Credit Karma Money. Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win cash reimbursements for making purchases. Credit Karma has always been there to help you make better financial decisions, and now they want to help even more. With a Credit Karma Money spend account, you can be rewarded for good money habits. Just pay with your debit card, and if you win, you'll be notified on the spot, and your instant Karma cash will be added back into your spend account. Credit Karma Money has already given away over $3 million in instant Karma to over 50,000 Credit Karma members and counting. Right now, you can visit creditkarma.com/winmoney to open your free account and start winning instant Karma. Go to creditkarma.com/winmoney to sign up for free and start winning instant Karma. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MVP Bank Inc. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply. creditkarma.com/winmoney.
Number 6 on the Roper Report, the ESRB has rated the medium for PlayStation 5. This is Sal Romano over at Gematsu. The Entertainment Software Rating Board has rated the Bloober Team, I love Bloober Team's name, Bloober Team developed third-person psychological horror game, The Medium, for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. The Medium first launched digitally on Xbox Series and PC via Steam and the Microsoft Store in January, as well as via Xbox Game Pass. Back in March, distributor Koch Media announced plans to publish publish a physical edition of the medium, but it did not mention platinums. Blessing, is this going to be one of the announcements we get at the Koch Media presentation this week?
1000% yes.
Yeah.
I mean, are you excited? I didn't play the medium when it came out. It wasn't one that necessarily got me super hyped, but cool. Yeah, like this is cool news, I guess.
I really dug the medium. Like, don't get me wrong, it falters in places and whatever, but I had a great time with that. And I think, as we said multiple times in our review, once you sit in the wheelchair, that game takes a turn that I really enjoyed. And so I described it in the review on XCast back in the day of, I think it's the perfect game pass game of the idea of like, all right, cool. Like, what are your expectations for blah, blah, blah. I think it'll be interesting to see what they price this at in terms of a PlayStation 5 release or whatever. Cause I don't think it's a $70 game. I don't think it's a great value there, but I had a great time with it. Jen and I really enjoyed playing through it, and I will replay it for the platinum to do this. I'm assuming they keep the same trophy list they had as achievement list. And now that I've beaten it, I would just make sure I collect everything as I go. But I enjoyed the medium, and I'd be looking forward to it again.
This might be a kindafunny.com/wrong question if you don't know, but like, did Blooper Team's other games come to PlayStation? Like, what Blair Witch?
Yeah, Blair Witch
did.
Blair Witch came.
Oh, okay. So there's like a precedent for this. That I didn't know
this isn't like an outrageous
out of
thing.
left field thing.
It's usually, and this is more of a kind of funny kindafunny.com/you're wrong thing. Is I think usually they come later. Like, I remember Blair Witch had a gap as well before it got over to PlayStation. Layers of Fear, I don't think there was, but it did. I mean, yeah. So yeah, they come. Yeah.
Okay.
They come, baby.
Oh God, don't say it like that.
No, they come. For your final one here, speaking of the Koch Media one, that'll be the presentation that's going to be on Friday of this E3 weekend. Yes, we'll be reacting to it on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We got some more dates and times for you, some solidified details over here for number 7 for what I'm calling the E3 2021 show announcements. The first comes from 24 Entertainment. 24 Entertainment is proud to announce that Naraka Blade Point will be part of E3 this year with a 10-minute segment during the NetEase show on June 13th and a segment in the PC gaming show later that day. Please tune into one of the following streaming platforms June 13th at 9:30 a.m. to watch the Naraka Blade Point show live. And then on top of that, PC Gaming Show details are released. The biggest annual showcase dedicated to PC gaming, the PC Gaming Show, will return on June 13th at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Broadcasting from Los Angeles during E3 weekend on twitch.tv/PCGamer, youtube.com/PCGamer, and featured prominently within E3's official programming and the Twitch gaming lineup. The PC Gaming Show will reveal 39 new trailers, game announcements, and interviews to audiences around the world. A special showcase of exciting games during E3. This year's 90-minute show will embrace an imaginative theme, outer space. For the first time, PC Gaming Show hosts will beam video content and interviews straight from the cosmos into a custom spaceship built just for this year's E3. 39 new trailers and game announcements will make up this year's PC Gaming Show. I then went through and pared down some of it just to these bullet points for you, all right? The reveal of Project Warlock 2. Techland will be showing Dying Light 2, Stay Human, and giving the first in-depth look at its main character, Aiden, and his internal motivation, alongside revealing more about Dying Light 2, Stay Human universe. Sega and Amplitude Studios will have a major announcement and reveal for the highly anticipated strategy game Humankind. An announcement from EVE Online, a new Chivalry 2 announcement from Torn Banner Studios, Tripwire Interactive will be there, and Humble Games will be there. Of course, there's way more information than that available to you. Those are just the bullet points I grabbed to put out there. Blessing, it's happening. E3's here.
It is. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that everything seems to be happening, because when they announced E3 earlier in the year, I did have the thought of, okay, who's gonna show up? Who's gonna partner up with E3? Especially if the reports of, it costs $6K to do all this stuff, like that. A lot of the leaks we were getting earlier in the year were I think kind of speaking towards E3's possible demise of like, who the fuck is going to do all this? The fact that they really got their shit together, and the fact that this really does feel like E3. Of course, once we get there, it's going to be different because everything's going to be digital. And,
sure.
All that stuff's going to have to be stitched together in a way that's different from traditional E3. The fact that we're having the PC Gamer Show, the fact that we're having companies like 24 Entertainment talk about Naraka Blade Point, which I don't know what that is, but sounds like it could be cool.
Like whatever games.
Yeah, like whatever. It's games and right, and all this stuff is speaking towards somebody, and I think that's very exciting. That there's somebody out there who saw Naraka Blade Point is going to show up, and they're like, "Fuck yeah!" Like I'm super into Naraka Blade Point, or the folks who love tuning into the PC gaming show. You know, like I'm not usually most things at the PC gaming show don't speak to me specifically, but
Sure.
there are those nuggets in there that I get hyped about. Persona 4 Golden coming to PC last year was a thing that I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. You know, like people like Barrett Courtney are gonna finally get to try that game out. I think that's always a super awesome thing. And so I'm super excited for this week. I'm super excited for next week. E3 is here.
Jeff Grubb in the chat says Naraka is what if Devil May Cry was a battle royale.
You sold me. I'm in.
There it is. He's in. I can't wait to see you go pro and become an esports legend in Naraka Blade Point. But that is still so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, Blessing, say what came to the mom and grab shops, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Kevin, this reminds me, has Paula gotten over Cecil eating a bird?
And is Cecil okay?
Out today.
Yeah, Cecil's fine, but it was very traumatic for her.
Oh, sure. I bet. Yeah. Merchant of the Skies is out now on PlayStation 5. Yinglet is on PC via Steam. Hex of Steel, the cross-platform multiplayer turn-based strategy game set in World War II, is now available on Steam, iOS, and Android. Blade Assault is now available on Steam. Then Mass Effect Legendary got an update. Here, these are from BioWare, obviously. We wanted to share a quick note about a new update for Mass Effect Legendary Edition that brings a number of quality of life improvements to the game, including the following and more. English spoken dialogue can now be selected separately from subtitle language. Resolved issues with unlocking some achievements / trophies, such as the paramours or kill count trackers. Corrected pre-rendered cutscenes that were darker than intended after the previous update. Wireless headsets / devices no longer cause issue with the Xbox launcher, and improved PC performance across various hardware configurations, including Vermeer. Enjoy that, PC fans. New dates for you. Fire Tonight is coming to the Nintendo Switch and PC August 12th. And then guess what? Big news. Google Stadia is now on Chromecast with Google TV. It's launching June 23rd, or I guess it's not. It's going to be June 23rd. In addition, we're excited to announce something entirely new. You'll also be able to play Stadia on compatible Android TV OS devices starting June 23rd.
Wait. So Stadia on Chromecast with Google TV.
Chromecast
was that
TV,
not
or Google TV, right?
Google TV. Yeah, was that not a thing?
That's correct. That was not.
Yeah.
That was
so
not
the Google, but the Google TV thing. So there's Chromecast and there's Google TV. If you've got a Google TV, it allows Chromecasting, right? So you could use your phone and then hit the button and it'll send it to your TV, right? But you couldn't go into the Google TV OS and go over to a tab and click it and start the Chromecast that way. I think that's what they're fixing now. So it's semantics, you know what I mean? Like, no one was using it. They're not going to use it now. It's so sad.
Cool. I'm just trying to... One, that's true. Two, I was trying to make sure that, like, this isn't Stadia being like, finally, you can play Stadia on Google TVs. Because that's mad, right? That's crazy if that's the case, that you couldn't do that before. Google TV is an OS, people are saying.
Hey man, I just read it. All right. And Gadget's summary reads like this. Google has only supported Stadia on the web, phones, tablets, and Chromecast Ultra until now. At long last, the company is bringing the game streaming platform to more devices. On June 23rd, Stadia will be available on Chromecast with Google TV, the company's latest streaming dongle, and Android TV devices such as NVIDIA Shield TV and Shield TV Pro.
Okay.
Nobody cares. Don't even worry about it. Blessing. We ask people to go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames to support us, to ask us questions about today's news, and most importantly, sometimes, at least right now, is to squad up. This is where you give me your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you, and everybody plays games together. Today, Caleb needs help on the PlayStation 4. What's Caleb playing? Fast and Furious Crossroads. Caleb's PSN name is CJD1112. CJD1112. That's 3 1s. The online has seen a recent resurgence and is actually kind of fun. There's an active group trying to keep it alive, and we'll try and help with some of the trophies. If you have the game or can get it cheap, just search for a match, and I can add you to the group. Getting hyped for Fast 9.
Greg, did you know that game had online?
No, God no. If you want to play Fast and Furious Crossroads on PlayStation 4, hit up CJD1112. Good Lord. You know, there's like 900 games to play. Caleb's out there trying to platinum this.
Good for you, Caleb. Get hype for the new Fast and Furious movie. Hell yeah.
Okay, here we go. Nanobiologist writes in and says, as a reminder, we are getting a Splinter Cell VR game for Oculus, just not a standalone console game. Get out of here with your fake ass VR games. You know exactly what we want, Nano. Don't come in here. Oh, well, Sam Fisher's in. You're in timeout, Nano. Boris in 00 says, for Splinter Cell Blacklist, that it underperformed. It sold 2 million copies when Ubisoft hoped it would sell 5 million copies. Well, make a better game. Nano's back to say Layers of Fear launched day and date on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Observer launched day and date Xbox One and PS4. Then System Redux, the upgraded version, launched day and date for both PS5 and Xbox X. The only games that didn't launch on the day and date were Blair Witch and then The Medium. And then Cowhand says, Miss News, I don't remember if we covered this. Ubisoft confirmed the Division 2 and Heartland will not be at Ubi Forward. I did not see that anywhere, but I believe you, Cowhand, kind of, unless somebody else tries to correct me. We'll get it in there. And that's heartbreaking because I want to see Heartland.
I think that goes against one of your predictions. Is that
right?
It does.
Do
you have a prediction that you would be like, ooh wee, poopy, or something like that?
I said that I would see. I said we would see Division Heartland, and it would make me go, ooh. What was it? I don't know. Ooh, yes, or something stupid like that. Oh God, we're stupid. I'm not seeing it right now, and not that I don't believe you, but I don't see that. But I believe you. Put it on your radar, everybody. We'll see what happens over there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of Monday's episode. You have more episodes this week, though, each and every weekday. Don't forget. Number one, well, first off, Barrett Courtney's sending me a link here. He sent me to the Division. A message from the Division teams. Agents, we won't be at Ubisoft Forward this year, but we invite you to tune in alongside us to hear the exciting announcements. The Division teams are still hard at work. Content for the Division 2, Heartland. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Barrett Courtney. Your hosts for this week look like this. Tuesday, it's Blessing and Gary. Wednesday, it's Blessing and Tim. Thursday, it's Greg and Andy. And then Friday, it is Blessing and Greg. You're wrong. Just Tom says it was, oh, baby, is what Heartland was going to make me say when I saw it. If you're watching live on Twitch, ladies and gentlemen, the day is just beginning. Don't worry. Mike and Nick are about to stream something, I assume. What is today the After Effects stream or is it just Warzone? I don't know. They're playing something. I've asked Mike time and time again, right? What's happening on the stream days? You know what I mean? I say put him over here.
He did. He sent it to like General or something.
No. I mean on the Google Calendar. I've said Google Calendar.
It's not accurate
Mike's,
though. I know.
Okay. Well, that was great then.
I don't think so.
Kind of funny working like the well-oiled garbage truck on fire. It's always been. Mike and Nick are about to stream something. Maybe it's them playing paper football. If you missed that live on Twitch, of course, you can go to youtube.com/kindafunnyplays. You can catch all the archives of the streams over there. Blessing and I are going to patreon.com/kindafunny to do the post show where we're going to talk about Infamous 2's anniversary, actually, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to be part of that, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Of course, you can get the show ad free there. You can get a whole bunch of other benefits and other things. You can take care of us. But if you have no bucks tossed our way, it's no big deal. youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Podcast services around the globe. You get a brand new episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily each and every weekday. We're going to go do the post show. Mike and Nick are going to sit there and go, oh, baby, to each other. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.